Hi, I'm Jed.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Maisie.
We're the Hicks family, and we just want to briefly tell our testimony of adopting Maisie and some of the challenges that she's faced already in life at only 8 years old.
So we decided to adopt Maisie back in 2014.
Yep.
2014. And we went through the China Special Needs Program. And we looked through several medical files and photos of children from China with different needs. But it wasn't until we saw Maisie that we knew she was our daughter. And Maisie was born with a condition called femur hemimelia, which basically just means that her feet didn't develop all the way. She was missing some of her bones. And so we knew that when we decided to adopt Maisie that there would definitely be challenges. It was total unknown territory for us, but we knew she was our daughter, and it just didn't really matter.
Yeah, and some of the videos we saw of her, she would walk around on her knees because she couldn't walk on her feet. She didn't really have feet to walk on. And so we asked ourselves, is this a special need that we can live with? Can we help her through this? And we found out an organization called Shriners, which I'm sure everyone's heard of. And Shriners promised that they could make her prosthetic legs, and it wouldn't cost our family anything. We knew we needed that help because we couldn't afford prosthetic legs. They're just too expensive. And when we adopted Maisie, we took her to Shriners, and they made her very first pair of prosthetic legs, and she took right away to them. How did you feel when you got your very first pair of prosthetic legs? Did you like
It
them?
felt sweaty and it felt heavy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heavy and sweaty.
Sweaty and heavy, yeah. I remember those first pair of prosthetic legs are much different than the ones she has these days.
Yep, so Maisie was 4 when she had that surgery at Shriners. So your first time ever standing up on legs was 4 years, right, Maze?
Pretty sure.
Yeah. And so after that, one of the biggest challenges we found was Maisie wanted to run, and she couldn't in the current prosthetic she had. And as a mom, that was really hard to see Maisie, because Maisie is a girl that is full of life and energy and happy, and to see all her little friends be able to run and not keep up was difficult. And so I posted a video on social media showing Maisie trying to run, and I asked for help. And that ended up leading us to a guy who reached out to me and said, I think we can help your daughter run. And so that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, and what we found was the pair of legs that Shriners made for her, like she said, they were heavy, and those were made for walking. Those were walking prosthetic legs. They weren't made for running. And so we found this other organization that made her current legs, and these can both walk and run. They're much lighter, and they provide a lot more stability when she tries to take off and run. How do you like these legs?
I love them. They're less sweaty, plus they are not even too heavy.
Yeah.
Because with my last prosthetics, when I did this, it's way heavy here.
So were you able to run in those?
I'm able to really catch up with my cousins, and they're in baseball, so they have to run very fast.
Yeah, which means you run very fast.
She's very fast in these legs.
But you know, the really cool piece is, so these are blades, and insurance does not cover them, and out of pocket would be about $25,000 to $30,000. And like Jed said, we just aren't in a financial place. I don't think most people are, that they have $30,000 laying around. And so as we have seen through Maisie's whole life is just evidence of God's faithfulness. Again, this guy, Aaron Fitzsimmons, he runs an organization called Amputee Blade Runners. They reached out to us. They covered every penny. We paid nothing. Every time she needs a new pair of prosthetics and she outgrows these, they will pay every penny. And it's just further confirmation to me that God knew all along that Maisie was supposed to be in our family, and he continues to provide and show his faithfulness.
Yeah, and these are supposed to be Maisie's legs. I have a saying, without her feet, we would never meet. And what I mean by that is, when she was put into an orphanage a long time ago, it probably had a lot to do with her feet, you know, because in China it's very hard to take care of children who have special needs. They're not as wealthy as Americans are, and don't have the kind of resources that we have either. And Maisie's attitude's been amazing because she's really accepted that these are my legs. We've told her before that in heaven she'll probably have natural feet just like Mommy and Daddy have. And she says, I don't want natural feet. I like my legs just the way they are.
Yeah.
And so she's just really accepted that this is the way I get around, and that's the way God made me and intended me to be. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and you know, one last thing that I really want to say is, as Maisie has gotten older, our conversations have changed, right? I mean, she's 8 years old. She's aware that, hey, I am a little different than others. And so we've had some conversations of, Mom, why do you think I'm like this? Why do you think God made me this way? And I feel like there is an account in the Bible that comes from John chapter 9, and it's a blind man, and it says that as they're passing by, Jesus and his disciples, and they look at him and they say, you know, was it the sins of him or his parents that he was born this way? And Jesus says, no, it was not for that. It was so the works and glory of God may be displayed in his life. And I feel like that's Maisie's story is, yeah, Maisie is a little different, but it's so the work and glory of God may be displayed in her life. And if you get to know Maisie, it doesn't take long to see that to be true, that God's goodness and glory is evident all in her life.
Amen. Amen. That's a beautiful story, and I want to thank you all so much for giving your testimony today. Thank you, Maisie.
No problem.
Hey there, my name is Tina Hazelwood, and I was asked to share my testimony today. And I want to talk to you a little bit about something, a disability that I've struggled with my entire life. It's not anything physical, it's not something you can see, but it's something that can really pull you down if you let it. I have dyslexia. I've had it my entire life, and it really had me struggle a long time in my life. But I want to read a little bit to you about what exactly dyslexia is, in case you're not sure. Dyslexia it's known as a reading disorder. It's characterized by trouble with reading despite normal intelligence. Different people are affected to different degrees. Problems may include difficulties in spelling words, reading quickly, writing words, sounding out words in your head, pronouncing words when reading aloud, and understanding what one reads. Dyslexia is the most common disability, learning disability, and it occurs in all areas of the world. It affects 3 to 7% of the population. However, up to 20% of the general population may have some degree of symptoms. A lot of people don't even realize they have this. Albert Einstein had dyslexia. Robin Williams had dyslexia. George Washington, our first president, had dyslexia. Henry Winkler had dyslexia, and he said because of his struggles with dyslexia, he didn't read his first book until he was 31. And boy, I can relate to that. He said that it was an experience he describes as horrible, humiliating, and scary. And it most certainly is. And what I want to share with you is that because of the struggle that I had in my life, when Rick and I got together, when we got married in 1991, I could barely read. School was hard for me. I dropped out in the 9th grade. I just couldn't. I had such a hard time functioning, being able to comprehend what I read, retaining the information. In the 1st grade, you know, everybody knows Dick and Jane. You know, see Dick run, see Jane run. Well, one of these books like this, to read it and be able to comprehend it was a major task for me. I couldn't do that. You should have just given me a book like this. I mean, it would have been no different, because the stress level with trying to read one of these books was just very overwhelming. So struggling with that, Rick saw that I had a disability. He recognized it pretty quick, and I would say that when we got married, I probably still wasn't reading any better than a Dick or Jane book. It was really bad, and for me, it was very embarrassing because, I just didn't know how to function any other way. Well, through the years of our marriage, Rick helped me to be able to read and do things that I needed to do, and I got through it. It was a struggle, but during the process, God laid on my heart to write a book, and I thought that was the craziest thing in the world because I never read a book completely. It wasn't until 2009, the Lord led me to get Jensen Franklin's book, Fasting. In August, he led me to read the book. He says, it's time for you to read this book. So I read the book, and I started reading it, and I didn't put it down until I was finished. And being able to do that, I cannot tell you what an accomplishment that was for me. It's like, yes, I did this. It was like I won a gold medal in the Olympics or something because of the accomplishment. It was just amazing. So after reading the book, that showed me that I could get over some of these hurdles, some of these things that I had been struggling with. The Lord showed me that, I was going to have to write this book. I didn't do it in 2009. Kind of waited, and some things in life happened, and anyway, in 2014, the Lord called me to write the book. So I did. I wrote a book, and the book is called Faith Builders, Blueprints for a Stronger Foundation. And basically it talks about kind of my life, my struggles, the things I did when I was walking in my life without the Lord, and then when God was there. He just showed me so much. But the book is just a testimony to God's grace, putting Rick in my life, helping me to be able to overcome this disability, and being able to accomplish a task as big as writing a book. So the last chapter in the book tells about everything that happened during the time of writing the book. I wrote the book, me and the Lord wrote the book in less than 40 days, which was a major accomplishment. And a lot happened, a lot of things happened. When you step out in faith to do something that God has called you to, Satan doesn't like that, and he wants to do everything he can to get in your way and put roadblocks, and that happened. So I want you to get a copy of the book, check it out, see how God worked in my life through writing this book. Thanks so much for listening to my testimony, and I hope it helps you. If you have dyslexia or have trouble reading, don't ever be embarrassed, and don't let it hold you back from doing all that God has for you in your life. Thanks, you guys. Have a great day.
Everybody treated me like I was normal.
Right.
And then when I got in school and I started getting picked on and stuff, and like we were going to Bible school and things like that, and everybody was talking about, being blessed and, grateful for what they had. And I was so angry at God for so long.
Right.
Because I'm like, you made everybody else in this world so perfect, but why did you make me so different, But I got over that because I know he made me different for a reason, and I'm going to find that reason out one day, But it was just, I was so angry at him for so long, I didn't even honestly get good with God until like 2.5 years ago. Because I ran from him more than going to him.
Right.
I ran from him because I felt like he didn't love me. That's why he made me the way I am. He didn't love me. He didn't even take the time to finish making me.
Well, over the last 2 years, you've gotten right with God.
Yes.
Do you feel like there's some beauty in your circumstance now? Do you feel like
Yes.
God may have done this for a reason?
I feel like he did. And I tell my kids, because I know people are going to ask them questions when I have to go to parent-teacher conferences and things like that, and I tell them all the time, they'll be like, they'll hear somebody ask me, what happened to your hand, and I tell them, Jesus used my hand for somebody else because they needed it a little bit more than me.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's what I tell them.
Well, how do you feel like being in this situation, not having your hand, has helped you be able to be a testimony or witness to others?
Because I feel like I feel like having one hand has made me stronger than people with two. I feel like I face obstacles on a daily basis that I have to figure out how to overcome. And honestly, I feel like I wouldn't be the person that I am today if I had to. I wouldn't know the things that I know. I wouldn't feel the way I feel.
So it looks like that God's definitely working in your life.
Yeah, he is. And he's opened my eyes to so much. And I mean, since I've given my life to God, I left an abusive relationship. I got my own apartment. I got my own car. I just got into my own house. I actually have a career. I don't settle anymore. I settled in all these restaurants and thinking the only people who are ever going to give me an opportunity for a job are these waitress positions because they need somebody. They don't care if you have no hands. I wake up happy on Sundays to go to church because I feel like when I get there, we do our praise and worship, and I sing as loud as I possibly can, hands held high. Because I thank him for showing me I'm happy with the little things. I don't need the big things anymore. You know, I used to want the nicest job and the nicest car, and then those don't matter anymore. I just want to be comfortable in my life. I don't care what people say about my hand anymore. You know, that doesn't bother me. I've gotten better in a way better relationship with my mother since I've gotten right with God. I've actually let a lot of things and hurt, a lot of hurt go since I got right with God. And I'm not even going to lie to you, Tina. I did not fully give myself to God until Sue grabbed me. That first time I went to Way Church. Now, I didn't want to go to church. Mom had been asking me for 2 weeks, and I finally went. And the message that day, I felt like Brett was talking directly at me. Like, I felt like there was nobody else in the room, and he knew everything there was to know about me because he was talking directly to me. And Sue came and grabbed me, and she held my hand so tight. And she was like, this is not a disability. That this was a weapon that God gave me to use. And for me to use it. And it was like a wake-up call. Like, we left church, and I was like, I've never had nobody hold this hand so tight, like, much less touch it, People look at it like, but she grabbed it and she held it so tight, and I felt like a whole, I don't know, everything was just lifted off me that day.
Like the burden was gone.
Yes, and that's why I think Sue, and I try to hug her every time I see her because she took me to him. She may not have known it, but she helped me find him. Single-handedly, she helped me, and I'm not even going to lie about that.
Well, that's amazing, and it sounds to me like God had a plan, and God used Sue in a time that it was needed. And,
yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and that was an opportunity for you to just see God through someone else, and see that this is not a disability.
No. So. It's not. I used to think it was. I used to hide it. I mean, it'd be 100 degrees outside, Tina, and I'd wear hoodies just so I could put it in my pocket for the day. I'm dying. I'm sweating like a sinner in church for real. Just so I can hide it.
Well, and God doesn't want you to do that anymore.
No.
So.
No.
Well, I'm so thankful that you agreed to do a testimony for us, and I'm sure people...
I told Mom I couldn't tell Tina no.
Well, thank you so much for doing your testimony today. We appreciate it, and you just keep looking to God because He's right there with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.